Let us begin with the lesson today. Okay, and today we are going to study about the last heading of the chapter, that is tracing changes through 1,000 years. And we have covered almost all the topics, and by covering all the topics we see that with different passes of time different changes are taking place. We saw that after the coming of the Arab merchants and the traders from the Middle East, Islam was introduced in the country, and the concept of Allah got momentum. We also saw with the advent of the British, okay, Christianity was promoted, and we see that different time periods have different changes, and these changes are not just taking in the political sphere. These changes are taking in almost every sphere of life. That is the social sphere, the economic sphere, the cultural sphere, and as such, time occupies a very important place as far as the study of history is concerned. We also know this, that history is the study past, of the past life and events related to the human beings. Okay, and history helps us to understand the present of these human beings in a better way. When we go through the different stages of history, when we go through the different stages of history, that is the ancient age, the medieval stage, and the modern stage, we come to see that a lot of transformation has taken place, and all the transformations that have taken place in different time periods have been arranged chronologically by the historians for our convenience. So we see historians see time as reflecting changes in social and economic organization, in the persistence and transformation of ideas and beliefs. And uh, we see that the early men, they lived in the forest, they dwelled in the caves, they resided on the treetops, and when they were doing so, they were living a very carefree life. But with passes of time, they were skilled hunters and gatherers, and with passes of time they became the herders. And when time passed by, they started domesticating animals, and they became settled agriculturalists. So when this lot of these changes were taking place at different points of time, and when these changes are taking place, these changes are also influencing the ideas of the people, their beliefs, okay, beliefs in nature, beliefs in rest of the things. So a lot of changes are taking place. When these transformations are taking place, we see that the medieval period, that is the period from 700 to 750, was a period of great mobility. We saw in this chapter that due to the clearing of the forest, the people who were the forest dwellers, they were forced to move towards the cities in search of new jobs, new occupations, and this led to changes in the this led to changes in their, okay, way of living. And we saw that smaller groups were created, jatis were formed, and with passes of time, the regional empires were constituted, and in different parts of the subcontinent, different empires were formed by people who were not rulers from the beginning, but they emerged as rulers because of their efficiency and because of their uh, centralized idea. So we see that time helps us to understand history in a better way. If we want to study history in one span, it will not be possible for us to understand each and every aspect of, okay, a period. So what we do? What do the historians do? The historians, they periodize history. The historians, okay, they periodize history into large segments, periods, large segments and periods, okay, sharing particular features or characteristics. In this chapter, we see time and again we are saying that the medieval period was a period of great mobility, and this period was a great period of mobility. We saw not only the people of the subcontinent they move from one place to another, we also see, okay, people from the neighboring countries entering our country as traders, as merchants, as invaders. And when they are coming, they are bringing along with them their rich tradition and culture, customs, beliefs, and ideas. So this is leading to a lot of exchange of ideas, a lot of exchange of beliefs among the people. In this chapter, we see that a kind of periodization has been put forward by J.S. Mill. Who is J.S. Mill? We see that in the middle of the 19th century, in the middle of the 19th century, the British historians, the British historians divided the Indian history into three periods. Okay, and when we are going for this periodization, a special mention can be given to J.S. Mill. J.S. Mill was a Scottish economist. J.S. Mill, James Mill, okay, he was a Scottish economist and political philosopher. J.S. Mill was a Scottish economist and political philosopher. He published a three-volume work under the title A Brief History of British India. Okay, a history of British India in the year 1817. In the year 1817. So we see J.S. Mill, he was a Scottish economist and a political philosopher. Okay, he published a three-volume work under the title A History of British India in the year 1817. And in this book, he tried to divide Indian history under British rule. Okay, into the Indian history into three periods. Okay, these periods were he divided Indian history into Hindu, Muslim, and British. Okay. So he divided Indian history into 3 periods, and these periods were Hindu, Muslim, and British. And this periodization, okay, this periodization of history put forward by James Mill, it was not considered appropriate by the historians. Okay, there are many reasons behind this conception, okay, which was put forward by J.S. Mill. The historians believed that it was very difficult to periodize a period on the basis of the rulers that ruled the region, okay, at different points of time. So we see that this periodization, this division of Indian history was based on idea that the religion of the rulers, religion of the rulers was the only historical change, was the only historical change taking place. As far as the periodization put forward by James Mill is concerned, we cannot consider this periodization as appropriate because we cannot think of assigning a period to a ruler who belonged to one religious community. We see when we are giving such a periodization, such division of time, we cannot say that during a period only people will having faith in one religion were present. We can see that at different points of time in history there were other religious groups also who were present there along with these rulers. So we cannot see that this periodization is very appropriate, and so such a division was ignored and it was not kept into consideration by the historians of the Western world. Okay, as far as this periodization by James Mill is concerned, he saw that at different points of time in history, different rulers were ruling the subcontinent. We see that till 17th century, till 12th century, we see that till 12th century, there was the rule of the Hindu kings. Okay, the last Hindu ruler was Prithvi Raj Chauhan. Okay, Prithvi Raj Chauhan, he was the last Hindu ruler who ruled the subcontinent. But we see after the 12th century, Turkish invasion is taking place, and a new set of rulers are taking over the reins of control of the subcontinent. And we see that this the period from 12th century onwards till the late 17th centuries, we see or the early 17th century, we can say appropriately it should be the early 17th century, we see that this period, the period from 12th century onwards till 17th century, it was ruled by the Muslim kings. The Muslim rulers ruled the subcontinent from 12th century onwards till early 17th century. Okay, and we see that after the decline of the Mughal Empire, we see that the Muslim rulers, they were taken over by a new set of rulers, and these rulers were the British. So J.S. Mill has tried to periodize history on the basis of the rulers that ruled the subcontinent at different points of time. But we cannot accept this periodization of Indian history as appropriate, because the periodization put forward by J.S. Mill cannot be considered as appropriate and because different religious groups different religious groups different religious groups were also residing along with the rulers. We see that more than eight major religions of the world are being practiced and professed in our continent. So we see that not only the Hindu rulers were there, okay, there were people following different other religions like the like Buddhism, Jainism, Judaism, okay. So Sikhism, we cannot say that only the particular rulers were present at particular points of time. There were other religious groups also were in existence when these rulers were ruling the subcontinent. As we move further, we see that the Western historians the Western historians the Western historians put forward they put forward another periodization okay. The Western historians put forward another periodization of history, and according to them, history can be divided history can be divided into three periods, okay. And what are these? Ancient, medieval, and modern. So we see that according to the Western historians, history can be divided, Indian history can be divided into three periods: the ancient history, the medieval history, and the modern history. Okay, प्राचीन कालीन इतिहास, मध्यकालीन इतिहास और आधुनिक इतिहास. ये तीन वर्गीकरण हैं जो पाश्चात्य जो इतिहासकार हैं, ओके, पाश्चात्य दुनिया के जो इतिहासकार हैं, ये तीन वर्गीकरण करते हैं हमारे भारतीय इतिहास का. ओके, और इन तीन वर्गीकरण में हम देखते हैं कि हम लोग पिछले साल जो है क्लास 6 में जो है हमने जो है अपने इतिहास की किताब और पास्ट पार्ट 1 में हमने जो है प्राचीन कालीन इतिहास के बारे में पढ़ा. ओके, और इस क्लास में क्लास 7 में जो है हम अपनी किताब और पास्ट पार्ट 2 में जो है हम मध्यकालीन इतिहास के बारे में पढ़ रहे हैं. और अपने आने वाले क्लास में, दैट इज इन क्लास 8 में जो है हम जो है आधुनिक इतिहास के बारे में पढ़ेंगे. लेकिन जब हम ये पीरियडाइजेशन लेते हैं, जो पाश्चात्य दुनिया के जो इतिहासकार हैं वो जब ये वर्गीकरण कर रहे हैं भारतीय इतिहास का, तो हम देखते हैं कि हमारा जो आधुनिक आधुनिक कालीन इतिहास जो है वो जो है पाश्चात्य दुनिया से मेल नहीं खाता है. इसके पीछे कारण क्या है? Let us try to understand the periodization that has been put forward by the Western historians. Okay. We see that in our book, it has been mentioned, modernity carries with it a sense of material progress, भौतिक तरक्की. material progress का मतलब जो है भौतिक तरक्की से हम कह सकते हैं. ओके, material progress and intellectual advancement. ओके, बुद्धिमत्ता के क्षेत्र में जो है विकास. तो जब हम आधुनिक युग के बारे में बात करते हैं, जब हम मॉडर्निटी के बारे में बात करते हैं, तो मॉडर्निटी का मतलब क्या है? ओके, एक ऐसा समय, ओके, एक ऐसा समय जब भौतिक क्षेत्र में जो है तरक्की हो रही है और हमारे विचारों में, हमारी जो सोच है उसमें भी जो है बहुत बदलाव आ रहा है. और ये क्यों होता है? Okay, what is the reason behind this intellectual advancement and the material progress that is taking place? The reasons are just simple. Okay, material progress will take place when your economy is going in the right direction. But when we see the period that was under the British rule, as classified by J.S. Mill, that when the Britishers were ruling the country, the subcontinent, that period is considered as the period ruled by the Britishers. So we see that this period was cannot be considered as a modern period. Why? Because the features of modernity are missing in this period. The people, they were under a colonial rule. Okay, हम लोग एक उपनिवेश थे, ब्रिटिश साम्राज्य के हम लोग उपनिवेश थे और हम लोग ब्रिटिशर्स के अधीन थे. तो ऐसे में हम नहीं कह सकते हैं कि हम एक आधुनिक युग में निवास कर रहे थे. ओके, we cannot say that we were under a modern period because the Britishers were ruling us and we had no freedom. We had no freedom to express our views. There was exploitation in the economic sphere. As we were the colonies, the Britishers were taking away the raw materials from our country at a cheaper price, and due to the industrial revolution that has taken place in Europe, they were utilizing these resources, okay, the natural resources, by converting them into finished goods, and again they were bringing these finished goods and dumping our Indian markets. So our economy was at a loss. We were at a loss. The cultivators were facing problem. They were forced to cultivate crops which they did not want to cultivate, like indigo. Okay, And we also see that a lot of changes are taking place in the social sphere, in the political sphere, in the cultural sphere. And why these changes are taking place? These changes are taking place because of the subjugation that we were experiencing, by a powerful country like Britain. So we see that the period, okay, the early 18th century and hence on, it cannot be considered as a modern period as far as Indian history is considered, because the features of modernity were missing. We were not experiencing any kind of material progress. Who was experiencing material progress? It was Britain at the cost of the Indian. Okay, they were exploiting our resources. They were exploiting us, and there was no intellectual advancement in our country. Okay, they had introduced the English language, but for their own benefit. They introduced the English language in our country so that they could administer the country in a proper way. So we see that none of the features of modernity were present during this colonial period, and so we cannot say that this periodization of history put forward by the Western scholars is appropriate for our country. So we have studied two periodizations today, one put forward by J.S. Mill and the other one put forward by the Western scholars. And we have been able to understand a lot of things by going through this chapter, okay? And in the coming chapters, we will see how the medieval period is experiencing changes in the field of trade, in the field of architecture, okay, and rest of the things.